Good day, everyone. My name is Dylan. I am here with All Fronts Weather, bringing you your CONUS weather breakdown. What's happening right now, what's coming next, and what you need to actually pay attention to. For a quick background, I am an active aviation flight forecaster based in Alaska. So this is what I do on the day-to-day, briefing real-world impacts. But this channel, on the other hand, is just a passion project. uh, this is where I'm going to be breaking down things a little bit more casually, and I definitely need a little bit less coffee. So, based off of all of the latest forecast discussions and analysis, I'm going to be bringing you some information so you know that we're not guessing here and we're pulling information from certified forecasters and also my personal professional opinion. So let's start way up high with the jet stream up at 30,000, 35,000 feet. If you don't know, the jet stream is basically a fast moving river of air that steers storms. Right now, the jet stream is dipping over the central US, and that dip is called a trough, which just means that we have some colder, more unstable air pushing in or intruding, and that's going to be helping some storms develop. Inside that, we do see a short wave, which is a smaller ripple in the atmosphere, which is going to help kick things off. Think of it like the atmosphere is pushing like a
Big click here, start storm button.
so overall right now, we have some stronger winds aloft, a defiant trough, and plenty of energy. So all signs are pointing to a setup that supports organized storms and not just random pop-ups along the coast. Now, pushing down to the surface where things really start lining up, we have a low pressure system up north. We have a cold front pushing through and a dry line down into Texas. If you don't know, a dry line is where dry air meets moist air. I know a lot of people hate that word. I hate that word myself. So I'm going to start using humid air instead. And it's basically just an area where storms can really start picking up because of the difference in density. You can think of that. A lot of atmospheric science or meteorology is based off of air density. But back to the weather. Ahead of all of that, the dry line and all of the storms that we already have, we have some warm, humid air. Now that is fuel for these storms. When you combine moisture, instability, strong winds, and really defined or strong boundaries, we have a pretty good environment that's ready for severe weather. Now, that's going to be bringing us into our impacts. Storms today into tonight could produce some large hail, damaging winds, and potentially a few tornadoes. Now, I know these tornadoes might not be the strongest, but we might be expecting a couple of EF2s, potentially an EF3. Early on, storms may be more isolated. Now, these are supercells, and they're the ones that can spin on their own and produce tornadoes. And they're the ones that we really need to watch for if you have Doppler radar on your phone. A lot of apps are out there, so I'd recommend looking at that. Later on into tonight, these storms are likely going to merge into a line. And I know a lot of people are going to think, or not a lot of people, but a lot of pilots are going to hear a line of thunderstorms and they're going to start freaking out. Now, it's not a line of thunderstorms in an aviation sense. However, in a couple areas it might be, but it's going to be in a few isolated areas. Now, thinking of that, this hazard is going to be shifting from tornado and hail to widespread wind. So basically, the storms are kind of going from like a really pinpointed area of impact to a more sustained, almost like an endurance athlete kind of effort here. But we're not just going to be talking about the severe weather here. We're also going to be talking about some flooding concerns. Now, these are going to be localized flooding concerns because storms are going to likely move over the same areas over and over again. And it's going to be worse, especially where the ground is already wet or saturated. So we're going to be looking at some flash flooding, some urban flooding, and some rapid water rising along areas of rivers. Now, by tomorrow, the system is going to start shifting east, but it's not going to shut down. The risk areas are going to move into the Ohio Valley and the Appalachians. And these storms are still going to be capable of some pretty strong winds, potentially some more hail, likely going to be a lot smaller. And we're still seeing risk for tornadoes, but likely not. Overall, the intensity is going to be shifting a lot further down. Now, talking about shifting down, if we look down to the south along the Gulf Coast, we are seeing a pretty heavy rain setup, especially going into tomorrow night, because storms are always going to start popping up right when everyone wants to start to sleep. Like that's just how it is. So, behind all of these systems, we are also seeing some colder air moving in. And yes, there is a potential for some late season snow possible. I know it's April and no one wants to think about snow anymore. Least of all myself. I hate snow at this point, but it's just part of life. And the areas of impact are likely going to be the upper Midwest and, the higher elevations of the Northeast. So the people who like snowboarding or skiing might be happier, but at the same time, it's April and I'd rather the weather start warming up myself. Now, if we look out west, we do have a new system that's going to start impacting. And with this system, it's going to be bringing some more rain to the Northwest, Pacific Northwest, and then further south into California. And this is important because this is what's going to be the setup for next week. Now, if we look ahead into next week, we're going to see that the pattern stays active. We're going to be expecting another trough that's building in the west, so more energy pushing into the plains and more moisture returning from the Gulf. So let's talk about what all of that actually means. Early next week, Texas, you can see some more storms and some more heavy rain. Out west, Northern California, likely going to see some more rain, especially Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then mid to late next week, that storm is going to be moving into the plains. And we can see multiple days of storm chances again, some of these supercells. Now, details are still coming together, and I'm still kind of putting together all the model data, trying to see which one's the most accurate here. But overall, the setup is there. Now, we take a big step back for a second. We're going to be looking at part of the bigger pattern. Because as we start moving deeper into spring, the jet stream is going to get more active. Our temperature contrast is going to increase between the cold air and the warm air, and our severe weather is going to become more severe and more common. So this is not just a one and done kind of event, but this is part of a broader active stretch. So personally, here's what I'd watch: how the storms are evolving tonight, how fast the moisture comes back next week, and how the next storm develops. And that's really what's going to determine how impactful the next round is. And just so you know, I'll be watching it so you don't have to. No one wants to be staring at windy.com or, model guidance from the NWS or NOAA all day like I do. So if you like this video, if you have any recommendations of how you want me to break it down in the next one, drop it in a comment below. If you want to continue getting these updates, subscribe, hit the bell notification icon thing, or just put a like on the video. But I'll be here. I'll be putting another video out sometime next week, trying to figure out a schedule right now. But yeah, have a good one. Stay safe, be weather aware, all that fun stuff.